Alright guys, welcome back to the shop. This week's video, I'm going to start trying to do a weekly video, calling it the mixed bag of goodies, because it's just going to be random stuff here and there. Don't know what all it's going to be, so mixed bag of goodies sounds like a fitting title for the weekly series. So this will be the second video in this series. I've rearranged my garage, aka my shop, a little bit. You can see my rollaway is now over here. It used to be on the other side. So I'll give you a little tour of the rearrangement that I did, and get to the main body of the video, which is going to be a tool review or toolbox review. I'm going to go through the machinist toolbox that my grandfather had, that I inherited, and show you guys what's in there. Alright guys, so the first drawer in this little rollaway is a mix of starter drills, center drills. This is something I bought. So we've got a dead center that's been milled. The tip's been milled a little bit. I don't know why or what the purpose of it was, but we've got that. We've got some starter drills. These are, let's see if there's a name on here, Cleveland number 5s. And then I've got another box here. I've got another little tray back here. These are marked KEO. These are all number 5 starter drills. I've got a boring bar. I want to say it's 5/8 diameter, pretty hefty. And then I've got some of these still coated in wax, and these are threading attachments for the Craftsman lathe tool post. It's got a sideways holder that holds these in, and as they get worn, you can just grind it flat on top, and it's got the 60-degree angle cut all the way around. These work pretty well, but I don't like the holder that they use, so I don't use those very often. And then I've got all my blanks. These are a bunch of used things that are there's some carbide, brazed on carbide bits, and these are all used bits here. And then I've got a big Momax Cleveland high-speed 1/2-inch blank. I've got some little itty-bitty, these are 1/4-inch Momax, oh no, 3/16, and these are Momax Cobalt. And then I've got some 1/4-inch. I think these are just straight high speed. And then I've got, these are 5/16 Momax, and see, Armstrong blanks there. And then I've got a little box of Super Carbide. These are brazed on, and I've got a handful in here, and these are all, these two are stuck together, but they have the wax coating still on the carbide tip. And I've used these quite a bit. These are absolutely awesome. They're 5/16 also. Alright, I gotta put a video on for my daughter really quick. So we've got some of these strong hand tool holders here, spanner wrenches. I've got this, I have no idea what it goes to. It's got a scale on here that goes from 1 to 6 inches, and this piece threads on if I can get it loose. It's kind of seized up on there right now. A lot of the stuff in here I have absolutely no clue what it actually goes to. This is one of those pieces. Not a clue what this is for, but it's in this toolbox that I got. And then I've got, this is a high-speed steel, looks like a big part-off tool. Got a big old mixed bag of drill bits over here. National, this is 25, 30 seconds. So there's just a big mix in here of drill bits. Some of these have these piloted points, like this. This big old giant one here. And these are Morse. And I don't even know what size this one is. 1 1/8. Most of these I don't ever use. These here, I don't have anything big enough to hold them, so I never use them. They just kind of sit here in this toolbox. So if anybody watching this has a use for them and wants them, send me a message, maybe we can work out a trade. There's a die here, and this looks like an Acme thread is what it looks like. About a 1 inch. And I don't have anything that's big enough to hold that. And then in this other side of the drawer here, I've got a bunch of high-speed steel boring bars. And I've got about 15 of these little things. They have a little corkscrew on the end. And it says Mound St. Louis. And this is a number 1. And they're flexible. I have no idea what it's used for, but I've got a ton of them in here. Little straws for spray bottles. And then I've got some, get one of these out, pen lube, and there's some high pressure lubricants and stuff in here. And there's also some of these little clearance scale things that are in here. Most of these I've taken out and I have them in my other toolbox. But that's drawer number 1. Drawer number 2. I've got some clamping stuff for the dog things for the milling machine. I've got the reversible jaws for the Craftsman. Some plates for the rotary table thing. A half nut for something, and I have no idea what it's for, but it was in here with all this other stuff. Some work arbors, a really chewed up drill chuck. I have no idea what this is for either. It has a little lock here, and this piece slides, and this turns it. And like I said, I don't know what this is actually used for. It doesn't have any names on it. There's nothing stamped on it anywhere, so I have no idea what it's for. I've got some other teeth here that I'm sure go to something, but I have no idea what. I've got some Morse adapters, and this one I think is a Morse 3, and it's got a square tip, which I'm assuming is for threading for taps. But like I said, I'm not sure. I have no idea what half of this stuff is in here. Drawer number 2. Drawer number 3 has a faceplate for the Craftsman mill or lathe. I've got these two collet type devices with a spring on them, and I want to say one of them actually had a size on it somewhere. Maybe I'm mistaken.
has 1, 2, 3 on here, and I don't know what this is necessarily used for, if it's a clamp for clamping stuff in the lathe or what. So if any of you guys know what this stuff is, I would love to have you guys let me know, because I'm at a total loss. Some old rusted up drill rod, which I keep because it comes in handy for random odd jobs. And then I've got some boring bars that my grandfather made for the Craftsman lathe. And I haven't used this big giant one, but I've used some of these other little ones. And he did a pretty dang good job at getting these pipe adjustment set perfectly for the compound on that lathe. They were really, really nice. We got a follower rest in here for the Craftsman also, and a circle cutter, which I haven't ever really used, but never know when it might come in handy. And then on the side here, I've got some other little trays, which I keep meaning to throw back in this drawer. These are just these T-nuts that or T-bolts, I guess you technically call that my grandfather made. They're all welded together, and some random nuts and bolts. So that's the 3 drawers. And then I'm going to reposition the camera here and get you down the bottom so you can see all the stuff down there. And most of this stuff looks like it's homemade, that my grandfather made. Right, down here is a bunch of stuff that I really have no idea what it is, what it's used for. This universal joint for something. No idea what it's for, but it's here. I've kept everything. I've pulled it out, a few times and looked through it, but most of it just stays in here. There's this collar here, which has 2 Allen set screws and 2 keyways cut in. No idea what it's for. These are some back plates for the mill, and there's 4 of these, and these look like they're made by my grandfather. I've got this plate, and I have no idea what this one's for, but I'm assuming he made it to clamp on the mill. These line up with the slots in the mill pretty closely. Got a homemade slide hammer. It's pretty heavy duty. This is threaded, this sleeve here is threaded onto this, and I have no idea what it's for either. This, which has a bronze bushing down here, or at least it looks like a bronze bushing. I don't see any markings or anything on it, so again, no idea what it is, what it's used for. I've also got some scrap stuff in here that I won't pull out, but I've got this thing, which is really confusing. It's got a little piece of what looks like drill rod pressed into it. Little plate welded to the back that's bolted here, and then it's got this piece that threads out here. So I'm assuming he made it to clamp stuff, but no idea what for. This doesn't have a nut or anything to hold it. It's got a little tiny hole in it, but no idea what it's for. And it looks like this is made out of some precision stock here. It's all got smooth mill finish. Granted, they're covered with rust, but they're very smooth finishes underneath. Got this contraption, which I don't know what he made it for, but it's a rotating tool post for the lathe, I'm assuming. And it's got a little strong hand mount, a boring bar mount, and then a drill chuck. And never used it. A rotary table thing here that's got a huge chunk of flat plate that it's mounted to. So I don't know if he used this for the mill and bolted it down to the mill or what, but I've got this contraption, which weighs a ton. Got this, which looks like a cutter of some sort that he made for something, but I don't know what it would be used for. And this contraption, which took me a little while to figure out what it was, but it mounts up to the face or the compound rest on the Craftsman, and it has a little vise back here, and this is all homemade. Everything's welded together here, and it is a milling attachment, I guess you'd call it, for the Craftsman lathe, which I've never used and I really don't have a use for, but I think it's really cool to have something that my grandfather made, 40 something odd years ago. This roller assembly, and these bearings are seized up on here, but these are 2 bearings, and then this plate, which this actually looks like it mounts up to the bed on the lathe, and he used this for turning something, but these are not adjustable that I can tell. So I don't know what the purpose was, if it was built for one specific job or what, but it's kind of interesting to look at some of this old stuff and try to guess what it was for. It's another one of those weird things that I'm sure has a purpose, but I have no idea what it is. I've got a big old giant bar, and this looks like it was something that he might have made. There's no company stamping or logo on it, and it's just a big giant, I want to say it's a 1-inch bar here, and it's pretty old and rusted up. This thing, which again, this looks like it clamps down to the bed of the lathe, and I'm thinking this might be, this hole here looks like it's dead center with the spindle of the lathe, so it might be a mount for a dead center or something for turning longer pieces. Other than this piece, which I actually figured out what it was for because my uncle said that he saw my grandfather use this. And there's all these holes in here, and my grandfather used this for bending stuff. It's a bending jig. You put rods in, and he used it to get specific bends for one of the jobs that he would do frequently for the H.J. Heinz company. So that's it for this little box. There's some other little odds and ends in here that I don't really know what they are. One thing I found interesting was this piece, and this here actually says to be sprayed Cornell, and has a date written on it, and the date is 8/3/68. And I asked my dad, and my dad said that my grandfather did have a spray welder, which he thinks my uncle still has, and I might be getting that soon. So I'll probably be sending Adam Booth a bunch of emails asking him how the heck to use that thing, because neither my dad nor my uncle have ever used it or know how. So I look forward to trying to get that and seeing what I can do. Alright, I will put this all the way off camera and get back to you guys. Alright, the last thing I wanted to show you guys in this video is this. This is a Challenge Machine Company surfacing plate. and it says Challenge Machinery, Grand Haven, Michigan, USA. And I've had this off to the side wrapped up in rubber, just sitting in my garage. I need to get it all cleaned off. There's some dirt and grime inside here, but it is a very nice, very heavy surfacing plate that I got from my dad. This is one of the things that the company he worked for was going to throw away, and he salvaged it because they were closing down the plant and they were just selling everything for scrap rather than try to sell it and deal with the moving around. They just wanted to get rid of it all. So I got this. That's also where I got the big indexing head that's on the Clausing milling machine. So made out with some pretty decent stuff that was just going to get thrown away. It's just kind of sad because I'm sure they did throw away a lot of really nice tools. And then the other thing was when I first got the smithy, the person I got it from hadn't ever bought anything for the milling table on it. So there were no milling clamps. The only screws or T-bolts and stuff they had were for the compound rest for the lathe side of it. And I had a clamping kit with the Clausing that I bought, but the table had different size T-nuts in it. So I got a piece of square 3/4 inch square stock, and I machined up some T-nuts that match up to the clamping system for the Clausing. So of course I grabbed the one that is not going in here. There we go. So I can use the same clamping system for the Clausing on the smithy. So I machined up, I tried to machine up 8 of them, and I ended up having a tap break off and get stuck, and it just chewed up the one hole in the one end, and the hole in the other end was too close to the edge. I didn't think there was enough bite, so I just tossed it. I figured 6 would be plenty, and I haven't ever even needed these because I do all my milling pretty much on the Clausing, but better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it.